I just got done a 36-hour fast, and I'm going to explain to you what you can expect from the experience and how I like to start and stop it and get the most out of it. So yesterday when I started the fast, I was about 186 pounds. Now I'm down to about 178. Where did that 8 pounds go? In fact, only about 1 pound of that went to fat loss. In about 36 hours, I can burn 3,500 calories, but there were 7 more pounds of body weight that I saw drop on the scale. Where did that come from? About 1.5 pounds came from fecal and gut contents that exited my system. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 0.5 pound left my body as lean tissue. Most of that is autophagy, mitophagy, kind of like the cleanup work that happens about 18 to 20 hours into a fast, cleaning up a bunch of junk, mostly senescent cells and inflamed cells that really should be cleaned up and need to exit my body. So that's a win, even though that's not a body fat count. The bulk of that we can count on being somewhere in the neighborhood of 4.5 pounds of glycogen and bound up water with that glycogen. So your liver and your muscles grab carbohydrates and store it as glycogen to be used as glucose during activity. During a fast, you start to deplete all those glycogen stores along with the bound up water. I'm going to regain that back when I replenish my glycogen stores. And then about 0.5 pound came from eliminating inflammation. I'm gonna say it was probably about a net zero change in hydration. I definitely lost some hydration in my muscles because I didn't have creatine and I was having creatine before. So the muscle content reduced in hydration a bit, but the rest of my tissues probably increased in hydration. I noticed I was peeing clear this morning because the way I was able to combat hunger through the process was to drink excess water to fill the stomach. It was surprisingly effective. So if you're gearing up for a 36-hour fast, here's basically what you can expect from my experience. I stopped eating about 6 p.m. 2 nights ago, went to bed, slept fine. The next day, around noon, I started to feel quite hungry. It was sort of just an annoying sensation. And then I chugged some water and that hunger subsided for the most part, but it just still felt like you have a bit of an itch that you can't scratch for a while. I had a few moments of acute hunger, maybe an hour or two where I was going to the cupboard and wanting to look at the cupboard, and I had to tell myself to walk away from the cupboard and go take a walk to get it off of my mind. The second night of no food is when I had some trouble sleeping. I woke up around 2 a.m., not with feelings of acute hunger, but just feelings of acute alertness. My body was just kind of revved up because it wasn't in a fed state. And I felt alert and I just got up and I read for a while. So today I'm a little bit sleep deprived. My sleep was disrupted last night. As soon as I break my fast, there's 2 things I'm gonna have. One is I'm going to have some creatine just to start to replenish the creatine and water in my muscles. Creatine is also well known for helping you mentally overcome problems with sleep deprivation. So that'll be a welcome addition in a moment. The other is a special tea that I want to have. I'm actually not going to really break my fast with more calories for another couple hours. I'm really in a very fat adapted mode right now, and I want to mobilize as much fat as possible. So I'm having some green tea along with glycine added to it as well. One study in women showed that having some matcha right before a 30-minute walk further increased fat oxidation more than the control group when they were having a 30-minute walk. The respiratory exchange ratio also dropped, which means they burn more fat per effort expended. So this is just an easy way for me to get the most out of my fast by having a cup of tea with a megadose of glycine in it. I started the fast the night before with a ginger tea and glycine added to that as well in a megadose. Studies show how glycine can help accelerate fat loss in mice while retaining muscle mass when they're in a calorie deficit. It is the simplest amino acid. Now there's a whole lot of reasons I like to megadose glycine every day, but especially right up before a fast and then completing a fast, I love to add a megadose of glycine. And there's no real downside to megadosing with glycine. It's the most prevalent and simple amino acid that your body needs for collagen synthesis. Now, one of my personal goals this year is to reduce the amount of visceral fat that I have. I'm currently sitting at around 1.7 pounds of visceral fat. That's the fat that's not right underneath your skin, but instead is marbled in your muscle and marbled through your organs. So I want that to be as little as possible. So that's an initiative of mine to take that 1.7 pounds down to well under 1 pound this year. And I measure that with a DEXA scan several times a year with my friends over at Human Powered Health. So at the end of the fast, I have my green tea with my glycine, and I fast just another couple more hours. Hope that's a helpful explanation of what you can expect out of a 36-hour fast and how to get the most out of it with a tea before it with ginger that has no caffeine and a tea afterward that has matcha or green tea, and put glycine in both of them to get the most out of it. Subscribe and hit the bell for more longevity insights.